Okay. Um, Thank you to Ange for streaming the live call. That was definitely something I could not do. Um, a couple of housekeeping things. Uh, tomorrow is the week 2 Zoom for the 4K challenge. I hope you guys that are in the challenge are doing amazing with it. I love this challenge. I'm so glad we did this as a team. We are still under, let me think, still under the QV boost until tomorrow. Am I right? Somebody shake their head. Yes. Yes. Okay. And then they dropped an email, which I don't have a copy of. If anybody has a copy of that email that dropped, if somebody could send it to me, that would be awesome. They dropped an email about today and tomorrow, a promo to help people that haven't ordered since January or February. I see it floating around, but I don't actually have a copy of it. So if anybody has that and could send it to me, that would be super awesome of you. Also, if you're in the 4K challenge, I made some graphics last night for myself that I am going to, if you send me a selfie, please mute yourself, guys. Let me see. Mute. Okay. If you send me a selfie before noon today, I will get those done because I'll actually do it during the work with me. But if you hurry up and send me a selfie, I will get those done for you. But you have till noon Eastern Standard Time. Sorry, noon Eastern Standard Time. It is 10:30 right now. So you have an hour and a half to send me a selfie to get this. It's the story slides I put up on my story last night. So if you want to go look at them, you can. I overlaid a message I had gotten and then made an opportunity story. So there's that. I feel like there was one more thing I wanted to tell you guys. And it like literally just went out of my head. Oh my gosh, it's like right here. I don't know. I guess I'll think of it. Oh, now I remember. I had gotten the rare opportunity. And I wanted to share my notes with you guys. I actually got a social media audit from Instagram yesterday. Instagram, there was something that popped up on my account as an offering several weeks ago that you could talk with a Meta representative about how to improve your account. So I signed up for it and then I completely forgot about it. And yesterday, this lady named Jeanette, she texted me and she's like, "Hi, I'm Jeanette from Meta." She's like, "You were offered this social media," I forget how they called it, but essentially it was like a 20-minute meeting with a Meta representative that would go over my Instagram account and kind of offer some help with how to reach a bigger audience, that kind of thing. And the things I wrote down were like things that because I even questioned her about the things she was telling me because it's not what in fact, some of it's literally the opposite of what I coach you. So I think it's very interesting. But I wanted to take a few minutes with our Zoom today and go over it. So it was a 20-minute. She had texted me yesterday morning and she's like, "I'm going to be calling you from this number. You need to answer, otherwise you lose your place in line, and then you're kind of like screw, SOL, I guess." So she ended up calling me yesterday afternoon. It was actually a super good time for her to call me. I was sitting at school pickup. And essentially, Instagram is randomly picking creators to help them optimize their accounts. And this is what she told me. A couple of things that I am doing essentially wrong in my account. One, she says it's important to be consistent with the times of day that you post. And this is one of those things that's literally the opposite of what I coach you. I would tell you, don't worry so much about like correct times to post. I know, because everybody has a busy life. Post when you get to post. Because she said to me, she's like, do you schedule your posts? Do you have a certain time of day that you like to post? And I'm like, no, I'm a busy mom of 3 kids. Like, I post whenever the hell it gets up there. And she laughed and she's like, okay, but she goes, there are insights on your post, which I have not been able to find, but she supposedly sent me an email with like instructions on how to find it. But essentially, somewhere in the insights will tell you when your audience looks for your stuff. She says, we can tell if people just see your stuff on the like Explorer page or in their like news feed on their homepage, or if they are going to your account to look for your latest posts. And she said, there's a way to tell that. And she goes, those are the times of days that you want to be super conscientious of when you are posting. And she goes, post right before that. She goes, because you will lose, and it makes sense completely. You will lose audience if they consistently go to your page and don't see something new. And she goes, they're just going to stop coming. She goes, and then you'll kind of get them back when they find your stuff on their, homepage or Explorer page. But she said, those are the people that are, what they're calling super fans. She goes, you want to make sure you're like specifically trying to cater to them. So you want to check your insights if you have insights on your page. She says the other thing she mentioned hashtags. She said, so hashtags are going to weigh a lot heavier now and in the future because, the platform is getting so big. There's so much information on the platform. She said, we want to see you limit your hashtags, niche down your hashtags. She goes, no less than 3, but no more than 8 hashtags. And this came straight from Instagram. Like, this is a lady that works for Instagram. And she said, don't put them in the body of the post. Because I asked her that, because I'm like, well, hashtags, I said, I hear conflicting information. Some like coaches say put it in the body of the post. Some coaches say put it in the comments. She goes, no, you want to make it the first comment. She goes, don't put it in the body of the post. She goes, the other thing you want to do is create a list of hashtags that you use that are very niche specific. She goes, but you also want to make sure that those hashtags don't have less than 100,000 followers or more than 500,000 followers. She goes, there is like that small window of like the sweet spot is 100K to 500K followers. She goes, because if you're using a hashtag that has 1 million, 2 million followers, she goes, sometimes it's really hard to get your stuff seen because there's so much noise. So she said, really focus on hashtags that have 100K to 500K followers and make it as niche specific as you can. She goes, I see you promote health and wellness. I see you're a mom. I see, because she's like, I see like all the things that like you do. I do funny reels. She goes, you promote an opportunity. Like she goes, so you want to make sure that though you niche down as much as you can to really target those humans that you're looking for. The other thing she told me, which is exactly the opposite of what I coach, is she said, schedule my posts. She said, because I'm like, okay, I said, but I've always heard that if you schedule your posts, they don't get pushed out as much like a post that's created in the moment. She goes, I've worked for Instagram and I don't remember how many years she said. She goes, I've never heard that. Ever. And I'm like, okay. So, I think a testament of a good leader is I can tell you when I'm wrong. And I guess I was wrong. All these years I was wrong. But she said, what I would rather see you do, she goes, and you will actually get more traction is if you pay attention to when your audience is looking for your posts and then schedule them. She goes, even if you schedule them like from the next day, like schedule them today, schedule them for tomorrow. So you make sure that in case life gets busy, you're still, she goes, because those time frames of when your audience is looking for your posts, she goes, that's more important than anything else. So she said 100% schedule your posts. So I started thinking to myself how freeing that could be if I could spend 2 hours on a Sunday afternoon and schedule my posts for the entire freaking week. Like, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this could completely change my life." But, I mean, I think so I'm still a little skeptical. I will say, like, I don't know, maybe I'm I gotta just go with what she says, right? Who would be more right, her or me? So, I think that was very interesting. She says 100% schedule your posts. She goes, "No, I've never heard that. I've never heard of any of the other coaches talk about that causes a problem with getting your stuff pushed out, anything like that." So, and then the last thing she really highly recommended, and I can't help but think that this is just trying to push this, but regardless, I'm gonna do what I'm told. She goes, use the Threads app. She goes, you set up an account and you put a couple posts up, but then you haven't done anything with it. She goes, why? And I'm like, I said, well, I just didn't feel like it really took off like they thought it would. And I said, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok. And it's funny because you can tell they hate TikTok because she would reference, I know you're busy. She'd say stuff like, I know you're busy and I know you're on other platforms, you're on Instagram, Facebook, and all those other things. Like she would never say the word TikTok. I thought it was so funny. It was noteworthy because it was a couple of times she referenced that I'm on a couple of platforms and would never say the words TikTok. But anyway, um, she said, and I just said it just got to be like one more thing I had to manage. And she goes, yeah, but she goes, one, Instagram owns Threads. Everybody knows this. And she goes, by, and this goes back to this three-legged stool training that I am so hot to trot on. Instagram pretty much will show favoritism to people that are using the Threads app because they want you to play along. Like they want you to use, like we're always saying, they want you to use the multiple like modalities they have. They want you to use reels. They want you to do carousels. They want you to do stories. They want you to. So Threads app just kind of fits into that. And she goes, if you do more on Threads, that's going to just help your Instagram. And she says the trick with Threads is it don't overthink it. She goes, this could be where I take like, she goes, I see you create these memes for your reels that are funny. She goes, use that text or use that meme for the Threads app. She goes, you don't even have to, you can just put it up as a text. She goes, but the trick with Threads, she goes, is you want to create conversations over there. She says, so ask open-ended questions, do like call to actions that would cause them to reply. And she goes, do polls. She goes, the more activity and engagement you get over on Threads is only going to boost what you're doing on Instagram because Instagram wants you to be using Threads too. So she said, definitely create an engaging audience over there. She goes, you have a very engaging audience on Instagram. She goes, probably higher than I see with even creators that have millions of followers. But she said, if I just like buttoned this part up a little bit, it would just create much more flow to my Instagram account as well, which I'm under the impression Instagram's really trying to push Threads and they're going to be very favorable to the accounts that are, playing along essentially is how I took it from her. So, that was pretty much it. She she thought she was very complimentary and I don't know if she was just blowing smoke, but I don't know that she has anything to like gain from like being overly complimentary to me, but she was very complimentary with the fact that you can tell that I engage with my audience heavily, like replying to all comments. I do drop a lot of call to action things. And she goes, you're doing all the right things that you need to be doing. She goes, I just feel like these are a couple of ways where you could just tighten it up a little bit and get the maximum, you can out of your Instagram account. So, I hope that was helpful. It was definitely an aha moment for me as far as things that I was not doing correctly. I gotta be honest, I don't pay attention to the times of day that I post. If I have time to post, I have time to post. Like that's how I've always looked at it. So I thought that these were interesting tips and I wanted to share them with you to, you know, so we all can benefit from it. So does anybody have any questions about that before I move on? No. Wait,
I'm
I want
just
to.
still looking for that insights that says what time they're looking at your stuff.
I know. She supposedly sent me an email, which I will probably not get into it today. Maybe tomorrow I will open it. But I will share that with you guys too once I get that. Um, but she said she was sending me steps on how to do it. So we'll see. Because I kept trying while we were talking, I was looking at my insights and she kept saying it wasn't like under the insights under an actual post. There was like metrics, and then I don't know. I didn't get a chance. Like I said, I didn't get into it, but that's what she told me. So today's training, I'm still gonna pull from the book of Mental Toughness. Did anybody order this from last week? I'm probably this Siri's talking to me. This book is so good. And last week we covered chapter 5, the 2%. This week we're gonna go on to chapter 6. And there is some super good like aha moments. And every chapter is like 2 pages. It's super small. And I just figured every week we'd just kind of work through it. But I highly suggest you get this book because it's so good. And literally everything in life that we face comes down to mental toughness, whether it's, keeping promises to yourself or staying on a goal or doing the hard things when you don't feel like it. I mean, that's what 75 Hard teaches, is it's forcing you to learn to do things when you don't feel like them. So chapter 6, again, I'm going to go through it. I'm just going to kind of read the chapter to you guys and then kind of ask you questions throughout it. But it talks about going hard in the paint. So the chapter is called Go Hard in the Paint. And it's a chapter on integrity. And he starts it out saying that very few people have it, and those that do, it's often misunderstood. You see, as a society, we've been made to think that integrity is the same thing as sitting in your box, doing as you're told, and never stepping out of line. And it's not. Integrity is holding yourself to a standard, keeping promises, and it's what you do when no one else is looking. One of the biggest misconceptions I see in the world is people thinking that successful humans must lack integrity. And I want you to drop in the chat. I'm going to open my chat so I can see it. Hold on. I'm on my phone, so this is like funky. What am I doing here? There. Okay, opening the chat. People think that successful humans must lack integrity. And it's funny because I remember, and I never thought about it until I read this. I remember being told that as a child. Like my mom saying things like, oh, what did they have to do to get there? Or what did they have? Who did she have to sleep with to get that job? Or who did she have to step on to you know what I mean? Like that successful people aren't good people. And then so Andy goes to say, lots of people say, oh, there's no way they could have gotten into that position without lying, cheating, and throwing other people under the bus. So who has heard that in their childhood or early adulthood that you're like, holy crap? Yeah, you probably know by now why people are saying things like that. They're trying to account for their own lack of character by attacking other people's. If being successful means lacking integrity, then being successful is something to be avoided, right? And it's funny because I did this whole, and I think this is what self-development's all about. I get people when I'm trying to coach, and it's usually new promoters that aren't doing self-development, because let's face it, network marketing has gotten us all into self-development. Can you all say yes in the chat if you got into self-development because of network marketing or because of a coach from now? I mean, let's just be honest here. I know me, and I know I used to think, how is reading a book going to change my life, right? So I hear that a lot when I coach new promoters, and they're like, I don't understand how reading a book's going to change my life. And it's always like, I don't think it's a matter of the reading of the book. it's what you read and what it triggers in your brain. And this is one of those moments that triggered something in my brain. Like, my mother was a very unhappy person. And as an adult, I know this. As a kid, I just thought I, it was almost like she was just someone to be to avoid. Like, we didn't have a close relationship. Like, I don't remember. I know I blocked a lot of my childhood out, like most of us have. But I remember, like, if I could think really hard, it was almost like she was someone to be avoided. Like, she wasn't a warm and fuzzy. She wasn't like, I don't know, but now I look back, and as a mom and as an adult, she was very unhappy in her life. And this, like, it almost like puts it all together. Like, the things she would say in this way, like, oh, who did she have to sleep with to get that job? Or like success was a bad thing. But I also feel like reading where he said they're trying to account for their own lack of character by attacking other people's. And I don't think that my mom had bad character. But what it made me realize is she was very bitter about her lack of success. And I always felt that, like, I always felt like she wanted a different life. Even growing up, like, from my own experience, I didn't have I had my first child when I was 34, because I always through my 20s didn't want kids, because I remember my mom saying if she ever had to do it over, she wouldn't have kids. And I remember thinking and telling myself, I would rather regret I had them than regret I didn't have them. And that affected my young adult life so much, because she said that. And I always got that impression, even as a child, like she wanted a different life. Like, and this just kind of like puts like it almost like it was full circle, that she honestly believed, like, it's almost like she had to tell herself that successful people were bad people, for to almost like use it as an excuse as to why she never went out and got what she wanted out of life. But if being as successful means lacking integrity, then being successful is something to be avoided, right? That is why people say stuff like you can't be successful and have integrity, because it gives them an escape from facing the reality that the only thing holding them back from life is themselves. And I don't know why this all made me think of my mother, but it did. It's not their lack of integrity that's stopping them from reaching their goals. It's not no, let me read that over. It's not their integrity that's stopping them from reaching their goals. It's their complete lack of it. The most successful people I know have the greatest integrity. And I'm not just talking about financial success. I mean success in every walk of life, from athletics to being a great parent. Did you go watch your kids' ball game like you promised? Integrity. Did you stick to the diet you and your partner went on together? Integrity. Did you clean up someone else's weights in the gym when no one is looking? Integrity. The reason that integrity is so important to mental toughness is because being mentally tough means having standards that you don't compromise. Only you will know whether or not you hold that line, and that requires integrity. When I first released the 75 Hard program into the world, I saw a lot of people jumping on the bandwagon like it was some kind of social media challenge, which, I mean, that's how I found it, was through social media. I could easily tell who was actually following the program and who wasn't. If they were saying stuff like, this is easy, let me tell you, it's not easy. Angie shaking her head, no, it's not easy, and had a big smile plastered on their face, I knew instantly they were lying. If they looked exactly the same as after supposedly doing 75 days of diet and daily exercise, I also knew they were full of crap. What these people were lacking was integrity. And listen to this next statement, because I want to know by a show of hands who feels this. They didn't want to fail at something, so they set the bar way too low. They didn't want to fail at something, so they set the bar way too low. By doing that, they completely missed the point of the program and the life-changing benefits they'd get from it, because the whole point of 75 Hard is that it's really fucking hard. That's his words. Like, you know, I'm just reading a book, y'all. And it can only be done if you have integrity. I'm not going to be there to check that you did your critical tasks in 75 Hard. That's on you. So you'd better have integrity. Otherwise, you might as well just stop reading now, because you're wasting your time. I freaking love this guy. What does it matter if you're staying late at work or doing 2 workouts a day if you're not making the most of your time when you're doing it? It's not enough to just be present. You have to dominate your time, and you have to have the integrity to say, I can go harder. So for all of you that were in the 4K challenge last month, who could say you could go harder? And I know you all could say that, because you all said that on your wrap-up form. I asked you, could you have done more? Could you have done better? And there may have been one or two that said, no, I went all out, but did you really? Like those of you that went all out or really felt like you went all out, don't you think you have another gear? Without mental toughness, we let life's obstacles halt the progress of our attack. And one of those greatest obstacles is fear. So is it your fear of whatever it is, what people say, what people are saying you're gonna say, your fear of failing? That's what's holding you back. Fear is the enemy of progress. Fear will kill your dreams. Fear will murder your ambitions. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some things in life that are worth worrying about. Health of a loved one in hospital, for example. But what about the other things we're wasting our time thinking about? What if it rains when I work out? Does this person like me? Do I have the right car? What if another company makes the same product? What if my partner leaves me? Listen, you're gonna lose every day of your life until you realize that other people's opinions of you don't matter so long as you have the integrity in yourself. Bad things will happen, but very few of them are fatal. Not only that, but the time you waste thinking about them is the time you could have actually spent bulletproofing yourself and your life for when they do occur. Paralysis. So he has this cycle and it's like this graphic right here. And this is so good. He says, so many people with talent, skill, and great ideas never make it because they allow themselves to get stuck in this cycle. I know, talking to every single one of you, you have what it takes to reach your goals. You 100% have what it takes to hit the 4K bonus this month if you're running for it. And if you're running for 40, Christy Eubank, you have everything it takes to get there. Step 1 is paralysis due to fear. Step 2 is lack of productivity due to this paralysis. And step 3 is regret due to lack of productivity that's going to just have you quit. Did you all hear me correctly? Paralysis because you're fear. So you're stuck. You can't take that first step. You're afraid. You're afraid of that no. You're afraid of that message. You're afraid of somebody getting snarky because for whatever reason, whatever they say is going to affect your paycheck. So you're paralyzed. You can't take that first step. Then you don't take that first step. And then you can't take the second, fourth, third, 6th, 8th, 16th, 17th, 18th step. So you get lack of productivity. And then you're in this vicious cycle where you go, well, fuck it. It's the 15th. I didn't do X, Y, and Z I didn't do my 100 conversations last week like Jen keeps bitching about. And what the fuck? It's the 15th. I'm over it. When really, I mean, ask Ange. We have pulled volume out of our ass in the last 24 hours of a month. Like, y'all, for all of you that are sitting there going, it is the 15th, right? No, it's the 13th. I'm getting ahead of myself. Whatever, you get my point. There is a hell of a lot of month left, guys. Like, y'all, stop with this vicious cycle. Because let me tell you, you don't get off this weird carousel. How many times can you ride that bitch? Excuse my language, but how many times can you ride that carousel and not get seasick? Like, I mean, come on, get off of it. So it's paralysis due to fear. You're afraid of whatever it is you're afraid of. And we can all agree, like when Ange put up that post about, I don't even remember what exactly it said, but it was like, the next time people talk bad about you, check your paycheck and see if it affected it. I mean, like, come on. We all loved it. I used it. It's so true. You know, there's nothing to be afraid of deep down. For whatever reason, you're letting it stop you. And it could be all kinds of things. Lack of mental toughness. So he goes on to say, people act the same way with life. They're so scared of it that they stand in the middle of the road and let life run them over. Who felt that right now? Like, I mean, you can all agree that there are times where life just like, freight trains you. All they need to do is make a decision, and all you need to do is keep moving. The reason that this paralysis is such a big problem is that once people lose momentum, it's very hard to get going. Think about it. How many kids do you know in school who are going to take over the world? Probably a ton. But then they got the enthusiasm drilled out of them and they gave up before they hit 21. And maybe that was you. maybe you've had big goals, but for whatever reason, you focus on, I need motivation. Like that goes back to motivation is a freaking ball of crap. You can't rely on motivation. You've got to rely on self-discipline and mental toughness because it is in your routines that you form, even when life freight trains you, that is going to keep you going. It's hard for people to come back from losing that momentum. Being productive is a skill, being ambitious is a skill, executing tasks is a skill. And just like all skills, they fade if you don't use them. Not only that, but we all know deep down when we're not doing our best, we all know deep down when we're not doing our best work. We know when we're not being productive. And how do you feel when you know you're falling below our potential? We feel like shit. Come on, everybody. You feel like shit. Which brings us up to stage 3, that we regret having been productive. We regret that we gave into our fear. We know with all our heart that we copped it out and acted like a coward. It's a hard thing to live with. I don't want you to feel like that way. Do you? I don't think so. So have integrity, answer to yourself, and do the hard work even when no one's watching and you don't feel like it. Whether it's in fitness, your business, your relationships, or with everything else you have to do, have the mental toughness to go hard in the motherfucking paint. Again, reading the book. Yes, that would probably be something I would say out loud, but I'm just reading the book. I swear to God, that was the last line in the chapter. Because it does feel like crap, and you do feel like crap, and it goes back to like choosing your hard. Like it's hard to do what it takes to be successful in this business, but it's harder to not have that success and live with, financial issues and live with what it feels like to struggle. Like it's hard. I got a message from someone yesterday. She's like, I am going to be homeless. Like I need to make this happen. And I'm like, well, let's go. Like I've been here all along. Like where the hell have you been? And I don't know if life right now is just turning me into like, I am not sugarcoating any shit for you all anymore. Like come on. It doesn't serve me to be nice about it. And it sure as hell doesn't serve you because you're not doing it anyway, whether I'm nice about it or not. So I told her, I'm like, I've been here all along. Let's go. Let's change your life because you have what it takes. You have the tools. You have the resources. The only thing that's stopping you is you and your lack of mental toughness. So get this book, guys. All right. I'm done.
Holy smokes.
Thanks.
Guys, that's the first time I think I've ever seen Jen like that passionate and that pissed off at y'all for not doing what you are capable of doing. Okay, y'all hear it from me all the time, but that doesn't typically come out of Jen's mouth. I hope you don't mind me stopping Jen and button in here a little bit. Grab a drink real quick. Guys, today, real quick reminders before we hop off here. Today and tomorrow, last 2 days to get your customer account set up with $25 in free credits. Okay, just reach out, get as many people as possible because they have till the end of the month to use them. All right. The other email that went out in your back office, if you go to your back office, the very first thing under company news is a note. Okay. And I was trying to put it in here. I can't get it in here, but let's get you thriving again. If you've had people who have fallen off the wagon, okay, and they're not thriving, they have not ordered since February 1st. Right now, they got an email that says, hey, we want to get you thriving again. They can choose either the classic or the elite 1 month, and they can get it for $100. And that includes free shipping. Okay. All they have to do is log into their account, and it should be in their back office or in their account if they have not ordered since February 1st. Okay. So that's another thing. They have till tomorrow night. So send out your messages. Anybody, all my customers, all my promoters, and this goes for promoters as well. Okay. It's not just customers, promoters and customers. I already reached out to my entire downline telling them, hey, if you haven't ordered since February 1st, you can log into your account and go get those credits. All right. Go order. guys, do not take the day off. You are midway through the month. Okay? You can do this. And I had a conversation yesterday with somebody as well, Jen, and it went, I know this person really wants to make Thrive work. I know that they do. And my thing is if you guys really want to make your business work and you're not sure what we're doing, because we get asked a lot, what are you guys doing? What kind of, how are you bringing all these people on? Right? Just ask. Just ask. We'll tell you. Right? But you got to stay connected. Right? You got to plug in. Right? If you're not plugging in, you're not going to know, because we're not going to hunt you down. Okay? It just doesn't happen. I love all of you, and I'm here. Jennifer and I are both here for all of you. You're all amazing. This entire team rocks. Okay? But we can't want it more for you than you can want it for yourself. All right? And we're not going to try to raise the dead. It's not going to happen. So that's what I got, Jen. Sorry. Rant
No, that's
over.
perfect. Thanks. All right, guys. I just pulled in the back office. I also no other promotional code can be used. Yeah, if anybody has a copy of that email, will you send it to me, because I want to use it in the story, and then whatever I create, I'll share it into the 4K chat, but I still need a copy of that email. I mean, I can steal it from another promoter. I just don't want to. I would like to put my own verbiage on it. That's all.
I screenshot the email and put it in your messenger.
Oh, you're the best, Grace. Oh my gosh, I love you. Thank you. All right, perfect. And then I'm also putting up, I made this. Hold on, I got to put it up in the right sequence because it's all over the place. The story, the opportunity story. You have 1 hour to get me your selfies.
I sent you mine.
All right, ladies, I need to roll. Have an amazing day. Go crush it. Bye.
We're going to go right into a work with me, guys. Let me just post this.
We're still recording too.
Thank you.